Since evolution is not science, it is not surprising to know that it contradicts the two great laws of thermodynamics, which are the most secure generalizations about the universe that exist in science. The law of conservation of matter or energy and the law of increasing entropy. Their implications are not only obvious to the philosophic mind, but also to the common mind. The first law tells us that neither energy nor matter in the universe can be created or destroyed. Processes merely change it from one form to another, but the total quantity is constant. In other words, the universe did not create itself. It rejects the notion of self-creation. Self-creation or self-cause is irrational in the extreme because it further violates the law basic to all sciences, the law of non-contradiction. For something to create itself, it must first exist before it can cause itself to be. The second law, on the other hand, tells us that as energy is used, it becomes non-recoverable heat dissipating in space. Thus, it clearly implies that the universe ultimately will end up to its heat death, a total dissipation of all useful energy. If time had extended into the past, say more than 90 billion years, the universe would already be dead. It therefore rejects the ancient notion of an eternal world. Do you get it? Since the universe is going to die in time, the universe must have its beginning, which stipulates creation. To sum up, the first law says the universe could not create itself, but the second law demands creation. These laws, therefore, point their fingers at the lawgiver, the God of creation. Moreover, evolution openly contradicts the law of biogenesis, which has come to be known as one of the most universal laws of science. Life begins only from pre-existing life. The theory of spontaneous generation, which states that life comes from non-living decaying matter like garbage, was disproved once and for all by Louis Pasteur. It is a sad fact that evolution based squarely on this rejected notion of spontaneous generation. And to rub more salts to the wounds, evolution doesn't even have the garbage. The only spices it added is the duration of time. But what really does happen as time marches on? The answer has already been discussed, the second law of thermodynamics. It is the evolution, entropy. Even the simplest imaginary replicating protein molecules could not be formed naturalistically from non-living chemicals. The probability of its chance assemblage was calculated by Sir Fred Hoyle, and it turns out to be less than 1 in 10 raised to the 40,000 powers. Scott M. Hughes noted that mathematicians generally consider an event with a probability of less than 1 in 10 raised to the 50th powers as having a zero probability. Thus, mathematics further proves evolution highly improbable. Some may object at the outset that the second law of thermodynamics applies only to the closed systems. But the fact is that there is no such thing as closed or isolated system in nature. All in earth are open to the energy from the sun. All things are open systems. For all flesh is as grass, and all the glory of man as the flower of grass. The grass withereth, and the flower thereof falleth away. In any case, the criteria for increasing order are not satisfied by any supposed evolutionary system. Unlike what the Big Bang Theory advocates allege, energy alone cannot produce order and growth. There must always be a directing program and conversion mechanism regardless of whether or not the system is an open system. Are you still with me, guys? Take a deep breath and let's continue. Dr. Peter S. Ruckman sums up the grades of evidences which we have seen in the following manner. Since matter and energy cannot be created now, and the life cannot come from inanimate now, and an increase in complexity in organisms is not taking place now, the whole structure of evolution falls to the ground for the boast of every deluded fool who took the theory to be rational was, the present reveals the past. By studying the processes going on in nature, now we know what took place then. It may be well to add that, as Dr. Duwin Gish pointed out, no theory on origin can be devoid of philosophical and religious implications. Evolution is an atheistic theory which denies the intervention of intelligence. It is best described by the terms self-creation and creation by chance. But both these terms are non-scientific and irrational. The former has already been discussed, while the latter implies that chance has the power to cause something. But chance itself is nothing more than a word used to describe mathematical possibilities. It has no being, or to put it bluntly, it is nothing. It cannot do anything. Biblical creationism, on the other hand, implies a universe that was planned, created, designed, and governed by a personal God, the efficient cause of creation out of nothing. True science is fully consistent with biblical scientific creationism. As we have seen, it is a kind of intellectual suicide to abandon the truth of God by believing any of the other alternative notions, whether reality is an illusion, an eternal world, or evolution. We must therefore reject at once these oppositions of science falsely so-called. Now guys, we know the answer. Why we trust the convictions of our mind. For long before René Descartes thought of his famous axiom, I think therefore I am, Paul the Apostles of the Gentiles had already wrote, but by the grace of God, I am what I am. 1 Corinthians 15:10.